Alright guys, since I can't show you on this one because it's wet, I'm going to use this one over here while that one dries. This is one of the ones that we have already done. Same technique, did the pour painting and just tilted it until we got what we wanted. Now you pick a spot, take a cup, whatever you can use, something that won't really let the paint get up underneath it too much. And you just pick a place, you go right here with this one. And then you decide which way you want to do your painting. Do you want to do from here around black and keep this bottom open, which is probably the way that I'm going to do it. You just kind of pick and decide which way you want your bottom to be. Like with these ones, as you see, it's running this way. If you hold it this way, it doesn't really look correct. Really just depends on which way you want it. These two can show the different schemes and ways that you can do it, landscapes. So it really just depends on the way that you want to do it. I'm probably going to do this way. I'm going to paint. Alright guys, since I can't show you on this one because it's wet, I'm going to use this one over here while that one dries. This is one of the ones that we have already done. Same technique, did the pour painting and just tilted it until we got what we wanted. Now you pick a spot, take a cup, whatever you can use, something that won't really let the paint get up underneath it too much. And you just pick a place, you go right here with this one. And then you decide which way you want to do your painting. Do you want to do from here around black and keep this bottom open, which is probably the way that I'm going to do it. You just kind of pick and decide which way you want your bottom to be. Like with these ones, as you see, it's running this way. If you hold it this way, it doesn't really look correct. Really just depends on which way you want it. These two can show the different schemes and ways that you can do it, landscapes. So it really just depends on the way that you want to do it. I'm probably going to do this way. I'm going to paint around my cup this way and keep all this open down here.
It's black, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm just trying to get some of the water out of it.
Yeah, use this.
Alright. I preferably like to mark off my line of where I'm going to paint and where I'm not going to paint first. So I think I'm going to go this way with it. Just kind of make a little line if you want to make, or if you want to make a straight line, make yourself a straight line. And then you just start painting from there. You can always go back and straighten your line out, make it however you want it to look. Just whatever you feel, whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever catches your eye, really. Just paint your whole thing.
You need to hold your cup down.
No, not yet. Try to pull that line of paint back. It's very simple, you'd be surprised. I go back and mess with my line at least 1,000 times, I swear. I always get some different idea of which way I would like to put it. If I want to add some swirls into it. Now when you paint around your cup, if you have somebody to help you hold your cup down while you paint around it, it's a lot easier. But if not, make sure you do a very firm hold down on your cup, because you do not want any paint to go underneath there and mess up your circle or anything like that, because it will. And then hold it if you want to. Make sure you have a very firm grip down on your cup. Just gonna go around the edge. I like to go back and forth multiple times because you don't want a lot of paint around the rim of your cup or whatever you use to make your circle, because when you pull off your cup or whatever you decide to use, it's going to almost pop up and do like a stick to it, and when it does, it's going to kind of splatter out and mess up your circle. Just paint all the way around your cup best that you can. And don't worry, you can always take a Q-tip and fix what you need to fix. And don't be scared to put too much. Just make sure you have a very good coat, because your old painting will peek through if you do not. You will see the lines and the pinks and the yellows, whatever you use for your pour paint. I will advise, make sure that your painting is very, very dry before you decide to do this, because you're going to want to lay your hand on it, you're going to want to rest and paint up against it. Try to make my line very crisp, make sure it's a very neat line. I don't want it to be sloppy, but it's okay if you are. The first one's not perfect, trust me. Mine was not. You'll get a hang of it the more and more that you tend to do it. Sometimes you will over drag where you want it to be in the beginning, but it's okay, it's not a big deal. Really just, I keep playing with mine just to really get a feel of what's comfortable. Don't have the best lighting in here, so it's kind of hard. Sometimes you can take a Q-tip, get a little bit of paint on the end of your Q-tip, and go and fix your little lines exactly how you want them. It's a little bit easier. Alright, before we pull off our cup, I advise doing what we call our stars. I use just a regular toothbrush. Easier. Some people take their paintbrushes and they hit them and they smack little dots everywhere. I find it harder. So I take my paint and put some over here. Put a good little dot out because you're going to want to make it a little bit of water in it. And drop your couple little drops of water in it. It's gonna run, of course, but just mix it. That way it flings out a little bit easier for you. Alright, kind of knock out the little extra. Make sure you have something to cover up the places that you don't want to have white on it. Kind of hold it back a little bit. And whatever makes you feel comfortable, put as many white dots as you want to put. Okay. And then when you pull your cup up, make sure you pull it nice and fast. Okay. Now that's just dry paint, so. Well, if something like that happens, just grab a Q-tip. You can smear it out and you can fix it. You can use it for your shading because you're going to want to shade it just a little bit to make it seem like it has an effect to it. And that's how you get your galaxy. Then you would shade over here, right around this area with some white on one side and black on the other, just depending on where you want it to look like you have your sun coming from, where the light's shining onto your planet. For example, like this. That way when you look at it from a distance, you can tell that it has a little bit of lighting coming from certain ways. Doesn't look the best up close, I will say that. It kind of scares you, make you feel like you messed up. You didn't mess up, you just add some very light shading around the colors into the edges and stuff like that. Use a little bit of your white that you have that you used from your splattering from your toothbrush. Take some white that you used with your toothbrush, get the extra off of it. And just kind of come across and just don't really touch your black. Go around the edge, do a small little half circle, half moon. Continue, don't really try to touch the black too much because it will run into your picture, into your planet. It will ruin it. And make sure you just kind of smear it out until it's very thin. You don't want to have any showing lines or anything like that. Very light shading. And then you're going to do the same thing with your black on the other side. You're going to take a little bit of black, add a little bit of water to it. Take the end of your Q-tip, mix it up really well till it's kind of watery. Now this one might not turn out the best. Yours might turn out better than mine. It's just depends on how it works out for you. If you have steady hands is definitely key. And being able to not have your planet have any of the runniness to it. Take a little bit of your black and spread it out across the area. And just make sure you do the same thing with your white. Just kind of want to spread it out. Just smear it a little bit. Very similar to that. Just kind of thin it out. Don't want too dark. Just continue to fade it until it looks like you have a shadow when you're filling it. Like that. Mine's a little darker than what it should be because I keep getting darker my Q-tip. It's okay if you have to grab another Q-tip. Your Q-tips around. You can always use water to clean up spots too. It might mess up your painting just a little, but if you used a very dry painting, you will be able to manipulate it and move it around and shadow it.